We teach people how to hear the needs on two parts of ourself. The one part of ourself is that part that evaluates what we do. Every action we take, we need to evaluate it about whether it meets our needs or not. If I cook a meal for myself, I need to evaluate, did that meet my need for nurturance, taste, and so forth? And if it didn't, then I want to change that. So whether it's something I did for myself, or if I say something to another person, sometimes it doesn't meet the needs of mine, so I need to evaluate it. Now, how do I evaluate it? If I evaluate it by attacking myself, I say that was a stupid thing to do. We instead suggest to people that you evaluate what you do by whether it met your needs or not. You'll find that you can learn better without losing self-respect. If we can learn from our mistakes by being conscious of what need wasn't met to begin with, and then to understand another part of ourselves. What need were we trying to meet by doing what we did? So that's the same process I was saying using between two groups, but I'm using it within myself between two different functions within myself. The function that evaluates what I do, the function that chooses to do what I do. And if I evaluate them in the way I was educated to evaluate, I'd say to myself, that was a stupid thing to do. How could you do something so dumb? And then if I look at the other side of myself about why I do it, well, I had to do it. I had no choice. It denies responsibility. And I can have that going on within myself forever. And if I do, I'll have a lot of depression, guilt, and shame, and it will be very hard to learn from my human limitations. But if I can see the truth is I didn't meet this need of mine by what I did. What need was I trying to meet? Oh yeah, I was trying to meet this need. Well, it met that need, but it didn't, the way I did it didn't meet this other need. Okay, how do I get both needs met? If I can think in terms of needs, I'm far more likely to learn from my limitations without losing self-respect. In our training, we suggest to people that we look at what causes things like depression. We look at it in a way other than to think that it's because there's something wrong with us that we get depressed, that it's a mental illness. We have reasons for worrying about the whole concept of mental illness. We think that some people who we call mentally ill, they have some physical problems that affect their thinking and their chemistry, so that they think that they're something they're not, or they think that people are trying to attack them that aren't. So this can be caused by some physical dysfunction, and I wouldn't want to call them mental illnesses. I would want to say the person has a neurological or a chemical imbalance or something. These are the smallest percentage of people who get labeled mentally ill have those kind of problems. The others, I think it's a very unscientific term to use, mental illness, but worse than unscientific, by making it seem like people have something wrong within them. We don't look at what really contributes to things like depression and to the kind of violence we have on the planet. Our understanding in nonviolent communication is that people get depressed, very depressed, because of how they're trained to think, how they're educated to think. And they get stuck in this thinking, and depression is the result of it. So we don't see it as an illness. With people that have that, we try to help them become conscious of what you're telling yourself that's making you so depressed. And then we show them how what you're telling yourself, the judgments you make of yourself, simply are resulting because a need of yours hasn't been met. And unfortunately, we haven't been educated to get connected to the need. So when that need isn't being met, you go up to your head and start blaming yourself, shaming yourself, attacking yourself. And the depression is an inevitable result of how you think about yourself. So we show people how to transform that thinking about themselves into a language of life. If you say, I shouldn't be depressed, or there's something wrong with me for being depressed, which is what we give the idea to people, that you're mentally ill if you are depressed or you have bipolar illness. They now not only have the results of this thinking that makes them depressed, now they think there's something wrong with them for being depressed, so they're doubly depressed because they're judging themselves for judging themselves. So we say, no, there's nothing wrong with you that you do that. You think that way because you were trained to think that way. Now, there's some beauty in it. If you can see the need of yours that wasn't met behind that, you can learn from something. You can better meet your needs. But if you don't get connected to the need of yours that isn't being met, you just stay up in your head saying, I'm a failure, I'll never amount to anything. Or you ask yourself unanswerable questions, such as, why did I do that? When you really know the answer, you're already telling yourself, I did it because I'm a failure, I'm a loser. So if you just communicate that way internally, you're going to spend a good deal of your life being depressed. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you've been educated to think that way.